In what I believe to be a preemptive strike against progressive candidates, California has officially moved their primary schedule to Super Tuesday. So this is in March. Now, The Hill reports that California Governor Jerry Brown on Wednesday had signed a measure moving the state's 2020 presidential primary back all the way to March, a move likely to give the nation's most populous state more sway in the nominating contest. Now, in my opinion, it would also give the Democratic establishment a huge boost. Any candidate that's backed by the establishment, they would get a boost over their lesser-known progressive rivals, which is, in my opinion, a disaster. Now, if you're not aware, California usually holds its primary in June, near the end. I believe it is the last contest. Now, you might be wondering why this entire thing is a problem. Well, for one, California has the most delegates. If you win California on Super Tuesday, well, you pretty much won the contest. There's no need for the rest of the primary. You're done. It's going to be near impossible to recover from a loss of California so early into the primary process. Now, another problem here is that it would make all the politicians running for the nomination have to immediately focus a lot of time and money into California very early on. And that is problematic as well, because California is not a cheap state to run up an election in. Turns out their ad buys are very, very expensive. And again, it's very, very large. Now, if you're an upstart candidate and you need millions and millions of dollars to run ads in California and you're just starting, well, how do you expect you're going to perform? Not very well. You're not going to be able to compete in California's massive, expensive media market. And that means you're not going to get out to the voters who don't know who you are and might actually support your agenda. Now, again, they can't do that because they don't have the money, they don't have the resources, and all of that just happens to benefit the establishment candidate who has all the money, who has all the resources, who may even have all the name recognition. And by the way, might also have all the superdelegates. I believe it's 71 for California. Already have all of those locked up by the time March rolls around, instead of June, instead of running a several-month primary. This is a disaster. And make no mistake, this is a kill shot for progressive candidates. And Jerry Brown, in signing this, has actually pulled the trigger. Any candidate that lacks money and name recognition will not be able to compete and will likely not get the nomination. And there is a reason for this. And I know there's a lot of different hosts that actually brought this up. Correct me if I'm wrong. Cenk Uygur brought it up in the Young Turks. You also had, I believe, Mike Figueredo of the Humanist Report also bringing up this very important point that there are two different candidates that are running in California that we believe are actually going to run for the nomination in 2020. That is of Kamala Harris. And by the way, Kamala Harris is being groomed by the establishment to take on Donald Trump. And LA Mayor Eric Garcetti, who I'm not sure is going to run. And I don't really know a whole lot about. Now, Harris, right now, she does not have a ton of name recognition, but that is beginning to change. Okay. Now, to be fair, though, Harris, at least on one issue, healthcare, has been persuaded to go to the left and actually support Medicare for all and co-sponsor it. That's a good sign. However, make no mistake, Harris is still part of the establishment, and I don't think will likely bring too drastic of change. Now, that doesn't mean that she won't be better than Trump. Obviously, she'd be better than Trump. But again, back to the establishment, steady as we go, business as usual. And that's not what this country, I believe, needs. We need drastic change. So, again, what this means is that you're not going to have any of these upstart candidates. No more people like Bernie Sanders, who actually gained a national platform and leadership positions within the Democratic Party from winning a lot of those smaller states during the primary and actually doing a very, very good showing. In fact, this is the guy who took on the most well-known politician, the most well-backed establishment politician that we've ever seen in the Democratic Party, and was able to make up a gigantic 60-point lead and win somewhere around 46% of all the votes, of all the delegates in this primary. The Democratic Party, they're not interested in seeing anything like that happen again, in that kind of near upset. And so California just made a play to try and prevent this from happening. That's what's going on here. And that's why this is a disaster. So progressive groups are going to have to work a hell of a lot harder and a hell of a lot earlier to try and make up for this preemptive strike against progressives. And I think if enough attention is brought to it and enough resources and enough political action is brought to bear, that we might actually be able to beat this and beat the establishment. So then we can win and beat the crap out of Republicans. Not literally, but at the ballot box. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.